Okay. You kids are very lucky, my parents would say. Being born in America, it's easy to say that life is easy. Little problems come into our ways, like not being able to get the latest, smartest phone, or trying to lose weight just to fit into society gets in the way. But compared to children of the third world countries, is it necessary to let these lousy problems get in the way of life continuing on? I have recently rediscovered how easy life is. I come home to a nice cozy home after going to school, and I have plenty of food and water to eat. I stumbled across the issue of the third world country while scrolling through one of the web pages. And in India, they have child prostitution just to get through the day. Children under poverty have to do a lot of unspeakable things, and I've learned that the more I learned, the more I was compelled to share this knowledge. This led me to realize that there are things to do to solve these problems, and anyone can do it. Visiting the country or simply just donating to an organization would simply help these problems significantly. So what's going on with these children? Well, wars have been fought for hundreds of years through many different problems, but there's wars in third world countries that are fought with intangible things like diseases. In November 29, 2009, Anup Shah from GlobalIssues.org claims that AIDS and HIV have reached epidemic proportions in developing countries. Statistics from World Health Organizations have shown in 2007 that 33 million people are living with HIV, 2.5 are newly diagnosed, and 2.1 have lost their lives to HIV. More than 95% remaining are in developing countries, with two-thirds of the people being in Africa. Among these victims, half of the people are women who later on give birth to children with HIV too. Other deadly disease is malaria. The Centers of Disease Control and Prevention says in 2012 that malaria is a fatal disease from mosquitoes that bite the children who has parasites. They experience high fevers and shaking chills and flu-like symptoms. It's the #1 killer in Africa, and the World Health Organization mentions in March 2013 that malaria has a mortality rate of 25%. It's gotten so bad that one child dies every minute in Africa. Finally, there's measles, one of the leading causes of death among young children. It's a viral respiratory infection that's highly contagious, and it weakens the immune system. UNICEF reported that over 500,000 children under the age of 5 has died in 2003 alone. The lucky ones who survive aren't so lucky at all either. Survivors still suffer from blindness, deafness, and brain damage. Although it seems like a lot, diseases aren't the only things that they have to deal with. Children face the problem of hunger as well. Malnourishment takes over the lives of children. Malnourishment is when they're not able to take as much calories and proteins and vitamins, and being underweight, they are highly vulnerable to these diseases. The World Food Program stated in 2011 that 1 out of 6 children in developing countries are underweight, and the Hunger Project reports that 45% of the children under the age of 5 die. The worst is in Asia, 552 million people who are starving. Whether unethical agriculture practices like deforestation and overcropping and drought leaves the soil unable to grow food. The main cause of hunger is also poverty. Most people in third world countries are too poor to even afford food. They go through a day without eating, and WorldHunger.org reports that over 1,345 million people live on just $1.25 a day or less. And this brings us to poverty. As mentioned earlier about the child prostitution in India, an article on todayonline.com on September 21 states that a 14-year-old girl in India was forced into prostitution by her own family just to survive, for just to go through a day. And it also states that the number of prostitutes number of child prostitutes have been growing, and their ages have been lowered to 9 to 12. Not only is it popular in India, but it's also popular in Thailand and Philippines as well. Poverty is equal to not getting enough education as well. There's to be successful. It's comparable to the first world because obviously here we have enough money. So according to UNESCO, 250 million children cannot read or write. And everything seems to be overwhelming, but it's okay, there's ways to help them. Seeing children suffering, the most humane thing to do is to lend a helping hand. And the best way is to visit the country yourself. Living in America, we always spend money on things that we don't need. And with this money, we can use it to travel there, to build houses or schools or anything for them to learn more. Joining a group can help too. You guys can travel together and teach a reading class. If traveling is too much, then the simplest thing to do is to donate. Donating canned foods in the back of the cupboards that are getting rotten if you don't use it is very helpful. Give it to children that need it. And then lastly, you can donate money. That's the easiest thing to do. UNICEF and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation or the World Health Organization is the best and most trustful. So take a minute to think about this. Look at your children. Now think of the thousands and hundreds of children who are suffering around the world. Now picture a world where every child has a comfy bed to sleep in, after eating healthy food and not worrying and going to school. It doesn't take much of every children pitches in. Now don't just sit there and think about it. Go out there and change the world. Children of the third world country need you. They need help from people to end their sufferings from diseases, hunger, and poverty. I urge you to take action to end the nightmares of children all over the world. Instead of being greedy, lend a helping hand, even if it's a small act of kindness, to help children in desperate need. In the end, we're all one kind, the human race.